Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Between Two Brokers. We are knocking out some deer Schmoopies today in the same outfit. For all of those that you tune into our YouTube channel, oh, hey, Mom and Dad. All right, it's Schmoopy time. Thank you so much for emailing your question to podcast@smithspencer.com. Dear Schmoopy, I'm an agent with over 5 years in the business, and my business is just not great. I know a lot of people in town that have some cool listings, but they take forever to sell. I know I can get better at this, and I want to. I have a listing now, and it would be my biggest sale ever. It's been listed for 6 months, and we have had one offer and one other seriously interested buyer. I have to be present for every showing, which isn't a big deal because we really don't have that many showings. I've been beating myself up about losing the two interested buyers. One couldn't come to my seller's number. We wound up about $100,000 apart on a $1.5 million listing. And the other threw out a verbal offer. Okay, verbal offers are not real, you guys. And then just backed away due to negative headlines. They weren't real. So you had one offer. Yeah. Okay. I'm wondering how you would have handled those deals, buyers and agents, differently. How do you know when a deal is dead? And how do you handle negotiations and communications with other agents? Neither buyer has bought, but neither agent has called me back when I followed up. I just feel like the agents aren't telling their buyers what an awesome house this is. Sorry, that was mean. My seller isn't in a hurry to move. The worst. She's retired now, but is highly successful. She doesn't need the money, and she wants a certain number. I just wish I had handled things differently because I would have had the sale, and now I feel we're headed into rough waters with economic news. My seller's awesome. I love her, and I'm afraid I screwed up. Have I?
God, that was long.
Well, I like all the detail, though.
Yeah, I know. I always need more detail.
You say that at every time.
Yeah.
So she listened.
Yeah. So the part about how would you have handled the deal differently when they're $100,000 apart, I had one answer. And then she said that the seller is not motivated. So that changes my answer.
Right. So how would you have, if she said the seller wasn't motivated, what would you have said? I mean, if she didn't say that the seller, if she had a motivated seller and the seller's like, I ain't coming down, what would you have said?
Well, why were the buyers not coming up also? I mean,
do they really want the house?
Right. I mean, $50,000 over the life of a 30-year mortgage is, not that much difference. And I also, it depends on the seller's personality, not just her motivations, but, for her to come down $50,000 and for the buyer to come up $50,000 is
nothing.
It's nothing. It's nothing. And you just have to, and at what point in the listing did this happen? Did she say that? Anyway.
Probably early.
Right.
Usually that's when it happens.
Yeah. And can they go back to him? Now you just, the comment about agents aren't telling their buyers how awesome the house is. Obviously, the house is not that awesome. You don't have to tell people what's obvious.
The house is not awesome. You've had it on the market for 6 months, okay? House is not awesome.
You're overpriced.
Yeah, you're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
And your client.
And 90% of the time, your first offer is your best offer, and she probably should have taken that one.
Yep.
Because now look at you. 6 months on the market.
Ooh. Yeah, what's her way out? Okay, so here are the two issues. The two issues are you're looking in the wrong direction, which is the past. As the poet Jay-Z famously said, I move onward, the only direction.
Poet.
Remember that. So you got to look forward. So what are you going to do now? Okay. Flaw number 2 with this is you're looking at the wrong person and people to blame. The buyer's agent, what the buyer's agent is telling their client, you have no control over. Anytime an agent tells me what to tell my client, on the inside, I am saying, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I had an agent 2 weeks ago tell me, oh, I'm so busy. The house that my clients are writing an offer on. I was like, hey, can you tell me about your activity? Whatever. Yeah. We've had a bunch of offers, but they were all too low. Okay. I'm trying to do like a New York accent in case you can't tell.
We can't.
And they were all too low. My seller didn't even counter, but I'm slammed. I mean, the market is changing. It's picking back up. And I'm like, this motherfucker is trying to tell me to give list price to his seller for this house that has been on the market for 6 months.
Yeah.
No. Are you kidding me? How could I mean, my clients would be like, you're fired, Stacy. Like, and then I'm like, oh, the market, it's just like moving and shaking. Like, they can read newspapers. Like, you know, I send my clients statistics about what's happening and what's going on. Now, the market is healthy, but the longer your property sits on the market, the lower that offer is going. Your seller is not going to get the number she wants anymore. That is not a realistic scenario. If she's not ready to sell, I would encourage her to take it off the market until she is, because she's wasting your time.
Yes.
Like, you have to be there for every showing. Maybe you think that's cute and it gives you something to do. I don't think that that is cute. If I've got to be there for every showing, I need the confidence to know that, number one, there's a good reason, because buyers and buyers agents generally don't like it when the listing agent, I hate it when the listing agent's at the house, like 90% of the time. Sometimes it's helpful if it's a very unique, unusual property or area where I need them to explain things. But most of the time they're literally like guarding the possessions of the seller, which, by the way, are hideous, and I'm not going to take your whatever it is. Like it anyway.
Or they're following you around.
Yes.
So you can't speak freely.
Yeah. And then, you know, what happens in that situation too, we talk about this, is the buyers are always whispering. They're whispering. They're like, this is weird.
Yeah.
You know, and how are they're not going to buy that house. Right. They're like, this is ugly and the person is here. Okay. So you have to understand that that's the situation that you're putting and when I go for a listing, I will tell my seller that. I'll be like, hey, what if we went and looked at a house and somebody was following us around? Well, you don't have to follow them around. You have to sit on the porch. Okay. I'll do it from time to time, but there has to be a really good, compelling reason. Okay. Yeah, and the reason is not because you're batshit crazy. That's not an acceptable reason.
No. So yeah, either take it off the market if she's not really interested in selling, or work on her motivation. Like, why is she not motivated? Does she need to see the next property she's going to live in and like get motivated to sell? And then she'll be easier to negotiate with on the price. Yeah. But you're like, what is she looking forward to? Right. Nothing. Why is she selling? Right. She's not motivated. The longer she keeps it on, the more that number goes down. So yeah, you either got to get her motivated or pull it off the market until she's ready to go. Because it's not fair. And it's not fair to buyers and buyers agents to show property. Because, I mean, I'm telling you, a buyer that sees a property that's been sitting on the market for 6 months is saying to themselves, I'm going to get this for 1.2 or 1.3 if it's listed at 1.5. And if she doesn't think that, this is a waste of time. Yeah. I think, you need some more experience, honestly. And you need to not be afraid to say what you think. I mean, why does this person hire you? The person is hiring you for your expertise. So, anyway, that is the advice that we have to give to you. Thank you so much for writing into podcast@smithspencer.com. We hope you still want to be friends with us after that harsh advice, but if not, we certainly understand. Keep all of your questions coming, and we appreciate you listening.